What we did on the day, on the 13th of July, was what we felt was necessary because all avenues have been expended. Like 5 years ago, David Cameron promised that there would be no third runway, and a judicial review actually found it untenable if we have any hope of meeting our climate change commitments.
Aviation is an important, major contributor to carbon emissions that are the principal cause of it. And Heathrow in particular, I forget the numbers now, I think it contributes about 12% of the UK's emissions of greenhouse gases, which is a huge percentage. So they're trying to build another runway to increase flights, which is crazy because we should be going the other way and reducing flights.
Tonight is a party in support of the Heathrow 13. So it's a bit of a fundraiser but for the campaign as a whole to stop the third runway, but also it's a way of us being able to come and show our support for these 13 people who put their bodies in the way of climate change and are facing over-the-top, ridiculously harsh punishments potentially as a result.
Well, if it happens, it's the first time protesters would have been sent to jail for aggravated trespass or for campaigning about climate issues. That's in the UK, I don't know, it's probably different elsewhere.
We walked into the runway at around 3:30 in the morning, and we did this so that it was well in advance of the time when flights actually start taking off and landing at Heathrow Airport. So we wanted to make sure that it was safe for us to do what we did. Once we were on the runway and we'd erected our structure and locked ourselves to it, we phoned the police to make sure they knew that we were there and to make sure that any air traffic and air flight activity could be conducted safely on the other runway.
The judge seems determined to send us to prison for the maximum length of time she can.
When I got arrested in Russia and I spent 2 months in jail, it's the kind of thing that you might expect in a state like Russia, this sort of Stalin-esque way that Putin does things. And it was a massive overreaction to a peaceful protest, and that's the sort of thing that you wouldn't expect to happen in the UK. Yet here we are with 13 people who did a peaceful direct action at an airport, facing jail for that. This isn't the sort of thing that you would expect from a British government.
The trial was supposed to take 2 weeks, but the judge ruled that she didn't want to hear from any of our witnesses or expert witnesses or local residents who live near to Heathrow. So the trial was shortened, and so in 3 days all 13 of us gave our evidence, as well as 2 members representing Heathrow Airport.
In this case, you hope that judges aren't leaned on in the same political way that they are in Russia, but I may be cynical enough to think that she knows she's being watched and she knows she's making a statement.
The judge mentioned the huge cost of what we'd done and also the disruption to passengers, and obviously we're very concerned about the disruption. I personally don't like causing disruption or whatever, it's not the sort of thing I'd like to do, and yet you've got to consider as well what's happening with climate change, and there's many thousands of people dying every year because of that, because of extreme weather, because people are a long way away, maybe in distant countries and poor countries, and we don't know them individually. It's like for some reason that doesn't count as much as people close by who might have their holidays delayed for a short while or whatever.
None of us want to go to prison. None of us want a guilty conviction. It is a thing that all of us are going to have to live with for the rest of our lives. But the inconvenience, if you want to call it that, to us, the price that we're paying with our civil liberties, the sentencing that we are all facing, is nothing compared to the death sentence that hundreds of thousands of people are facing every year due to climate change. That's the real injustice in this situation.
It's quite a worrying change that this kind of authoritarian overreaction is the kind of thing that we might start to see. But I'm pretty certain that if they do start to hand out jail terms for peaceful protest, that it's going to generate the kind of outrage and the kind of energy that maybe this movement needs. And in some sort of perverse way, Deborah Wright, the judge, may be doing more for environmentalism than she actually understands.